Muchas gracias for coming today. I'm very grateful, both to you, the audience, and Fotocolectania Ibani for inviting me today. Voy a compartir la pantalla. ¿Vale? Okay. Think of one of the most cute pictures you've came across lately while scrolling the feeds of your favorite social media. Now try to combine it with one of the most dreadful, brutal, coarse picture you stumbled upon while surfing the deep web, or that you maybe voluntarily searched during a lonely night of online... there is no sound. During a lonely night of online boredom. And then try to grasp the feeling that you are experiencing in the moment. This is how the 75 terabytes per second of Kawayoku began. Okay. Yeah. Esperamos el suono. Discúlpame. ¿Sí? ¿Está el sonido? ¿Está? Ok, vale. Ok, from...
Okay. No, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. Vale. Bueno, okay. It's a little video for you. Hopefully it's starting. Still no sound, unfortunately. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Anyhow, you can actually experience it even without the sound. Hopefully it's been... Oh. Sorry. Okay, turbulent beginning. Okay, still, actually we are in the style. Okay, first of all, I just mentioned the project is called 75 terabytes of Kawayoku. What is it? Kawayoku, first of all, it's a neologism that I created. It's a linguistic crisis that merged Japanese words kawaii, which means adorable, and burioku, which means violence. This project is a visual research and digital archiving project that aims to analyze and keep track of elusive events, not yet easily recognizable under usual taxonomy, which intersect between tenderness and violence, desirability and consumerism, warlike propaganda and performativity, anime and manga idioms with gun fetishism. The project aims to seek for the ghost of violence, made invisible by a paradoxical kind of visual interference that actually abundantly fills social platforms. And I do refer in particular about those digital places globally renowned like Facebook, Reddit, and others, dominated by rampant youth like Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. I started searching from one of the most visible and common aspects found on my social media feeds, the obsession with cuteness, pink colors, and tender objects. In one word, the kawaii, that I guess some of you might be familiar with. What is kawaii? It means adorable in Japanese, and we said, and it consists in the embodiment of the cuteness culture, which is a growing movement and a social phenomena that thrives on the exasperation of vulnerability, shyness, and childlike features, able to produce an infinite number of trends, moods, fandoms, and a variety of different online subcultures addicted to consumption and commodified fetishism. Kawaii is one of the most prominent and popular consumeristic culture conceived for the masses. It is able to absorb attention and desires, and it meets the most elementary needs of an era, which is, to me, in my opinion, the search for comfort and protection from an increasingly fragile human condition. Kawaii, it's a sort of fitting metaphor for explaining vulnerability. It's a sublimation of a deep emotional status through an object affirmation. Since the very beginning of my online life, I've been constantly awashed by thousands of wholesome memes, I need to have it stationery goods, unboxing videos, pink-obsessed users, and compulsive purchasers. Wait. With a myriad of unnecessary but incredibly adorable collectibles that reward and decorate social anxiety. By doing a research on online visual culture, it's quite easy to collide, sooner or later with a certain weirdness. So this is how the kawaii aesthetics started to match uncanny criteria, as you were starting to see now. So the more I was digging into the depth of it, the more I was stumbling upon random memes of an Hello Kitty plushie asking me to die or hang myself. And all of a sudden, what at first appeared rude and corrosive went incredibly sweet and mild because of its aesthetic. The internet, of course, is filled with this kind of extraordinary irony, extreme paradoxes, and unapologetic weirdness. That's why, at the time, I found those memes totally harmless, although it's alienating first impression. This is how the epicore aesthetic, Sanrio memes and Hello Kitty and so on, I was starting from that, actually. All of a sudden, that was actually based around positivity, conceived to help others work with stressful topics, coping mechanism, did not only satisfy the most wholesome needs and requests for safe space on the web. It also permeated plenty of other areas that aim to visually translate a variety of triggering topics, such as mental health and trauma, child abuse, and self-harm. The same obsession for cuteness is to be found within the super broad anime and manga fandoms, and gaming communities as well, which are deeply attached to the otaku culture. Otaku means being strongly attached with anything related to the Japanese mass culture. So keep on digging, I found a deep interconnection with the hypersexualization of fictional female characters, a disturbing fascination for children and childlike features, dark area of extreme porn, pro-gun communities, and plenty of cut-eared anime girls with gun in their hands. One remarkable case study that can easily sum up this full load of intricacy is the internet phenomenon called Belle Delphine, who is an OnlyFans highest paid creator in 2021, who pretends to be a cat, becoming an icon of the so-called ahegao phase, which is, again, a Japanese term for mainly used in pornography for an exaggerated facial expression while someone is climaxing. So she boasts the title of the greatest troll on the internet, since her trademarks are, again, cat ears, lewd poses, childlike voice, pink wig, and a selling strategy that can make a corporation blush when she came out with a very popular internet case for selling her bath water to prank the online community for $30 a jar. Of course, it was total fake. constantly prank her fans, opening a perfect safe for work Pornhub account, imitating the attitude of an e-girl, to play on gamers' audience fantasies and sell plenty of related products, oftenly attracting harsh critiques and admonishment on her accounts, posting disturbing abuse and violence aestheticization. Both Kawaii and Belle Delphine, during my research, starting to get quite good along. They both share the common feature of making people want and desire that is something just merely symbolic or even a metaphor of their most fleeting and volatile needs, since they both push to the limit the extreme aspect of a disturbing obsession for infancy and phony innocence. The same kind of stereotype, inoffensive cuteness and decorated tenderness imposed to their fetishes. Belle Delphine's most controversial aspect, as we saw before in the video, like the way she hypes rape and softness in the same visual sentence, makes cuteness, innocence, sex and brutality interdependent concepts. So, these connotations are very similar to the recent development of the so-called digital militarism, which is quite recent. It started as an academic study only in 2015. So, digital militarism, it's an intricate cultural process embedded into highly militarized society, like the Israeli society or the US, in order to detonate its intrinsic violence. In a nutshell, it's how military propaganda rebrand itself during the digital age. Information and communication technologies turned into wartime arsenals, while the internet and social networks into digital battlefields. When Gaza Strip has been bombed 24 hours during May 2021, the past year, and despite human rights are violated on a daily basis in Palestine, TikTok flaneurs and most frequent visitors witness a new phase of the art of sanitizing occupation through a sort of unprecedented visual representation of it. So hundreds of not older than 23 years old on average Israeli soldiers took over the digital platforms at the time it was May. A washing filled with dance, lip syncs, and mischievous attitude in order to affirm their right to defense and its honorable name. Why? To hide with candor and beauty the state of apartheid. It has always been denied with extreme efforts in the past from the Israeli government, and so easily deflated by the language of cuteness, which is disarmingly eloquent and so easy to understand. Most of the soldiers were young females, some with a strong passion for cosplaying, and anime as well, so again, the Japanese theme, keen in streaming not safe for work videos on the side, and compulsive buyers of tactical gear, weapons, cut-ear helmets, and again, showing their best high-go face while streaming on OnlyFans. The IDF female soldier common feature profile are obsessive with self-image production, what I call ideological narcissism, which means I defend my country better than others. Stage beauty, inoffensive aura, wielding an assault rifle as a decorative charms, like an accessory. I call them self-generative propaganda machines. Digital militarism is located both in online and offline practices of contemporary media strategies, which actually relies on spontaneous and performative attitudes of the soldier lives. This cultural phenomena can be considered as a collective ritual of showcasing everyday army life, rehearsed on theatrical set to give daily digital performances in support of the state of violence through the mean of self-portrait beautified body free of blood for the sake of entertaining propaganda. Sorry, I leave my mask. Perhaps you will hear me better. So, and you see also my face. Digital militarism, it's also an unconventional recruiting strategy. The IDF, the Israel Defense Force, runs official accounts on every single platforms. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. And this is how military is normalized within civil society. It is violence brought to the condition of being ordinary through an operation of aesthetical cosmesis. It's actually the cunning use of social media retooled to brand and enhance new digital form of propaganda that works so good. So army official accounts manufacture and reperpetrate old ideologies on the latest platforms. It's the traditional language of war and military occupation that we are so used to, replaced by video of cheerful young soldier enjoying and embracing apartheid and warlike contents. The fatal obsession for beautification and cuteness, it's not only conceived as a power to perform, but it's also a value to pursue, to glorify a career. Such as a few weeks before the end of the past year, one of the soldier, actually, the IDF bestowed to one of his most prominent and popular officer that you saw before, a first of its kind award for strengthening, improvement, the reputation of the military police corps on TikTok. So somehow, life imitates the most extreme parody of itself. Lip-syncing on duty turns military operation to a game. Lewd pictures of soldier transfigure violence into pleasure. The language of cuteness has a strong impact on aesthetic reformulation and direct perception of violence. The communication strategy of the Zionist Defense Force, it's quite irreproachable. Sorry. Oh, lo siento. Sorry. So, cuteness makes violence unaccountable. That's the main reason why cuteness works so good. So I repeat it, cuteness makes violence unaccountable. Aestheticized military life, it is so totally dissociated from resultant violence. How could we condemn military operations, ethnic cleansing, and brutal dispossessions under apartheid state if the perpetrator is represented by proxy by its harmless, inoffensive, cute, young and beautiful army? If we sense harmlessness and innocence sublimated by catchy songs, soft skin, mischievous gaze, and goofy dance moves sometimes, how can we charge the same subject for human rights violations? This video might simply pass as mere irony, accidental weirdness, usual internet cringe, inoffensive isolated cases, or just minor events without any larger consequences. But millions of people followed, watched, endorsed, idealized, but also loathed and backlashed this kind of videos that counts a daily engagement of 13 up to 20 years old users on average, oftenly unprovided by critical tools to analyze such intricacy and nonsense hype. So we do experience online contents on our own, within our private dimension, hoarding millions of seconds of videos that hoard, as a shivers in our visual memories and emotional anatomy, buried under trillions of neurons or buried under terabytes of data collection. Therefore, we need critical tools to orientate ourselves in a compass-lacking environment. In only 11 seconds, which is a TikTok video average length, violence can drastically shift apart. It can be disguised by a trivial act of chauvinism or patriotism, thanks to few dance moves that can make you forget all about its underlying violence, wiping out any past or present memory of it. So, why is searching on cuteness and violence so crucial? The link between digital militarism, online violence aestheticization, and process of the so-called kawaiification of life are uneven, discontinuous, elusive, and not self-evident, or not yet so evident, as they keep evolving undercurrent. We might devoid adequate tools and methods to recognize political processes through the complexity of fickle aesthetics, rebranded forms of unconventional communicative strategies, and contemporary extremist propaganda. Possibly, we cannot conceive violence immune to aesthetical and political implications. So, the current process of the detonation of online violence can easily generate reality misconception as well. It creates multiple interference in reading and understanding the depth of historical facts, undermining human perception and existential needs, as for instance, gaining pleasure and satisfaction from misleading and indirect representation of violence. The consequence of this aesthetic reformulation might influence political awareness, collective behaviors, and personal moods. The consequences are not only going to grip on single users' imagination. The consequences are to be found on a whole generation decision-making and their ability to do it, such as voting, participating to public debate, critical discerning, conscious pondering, like boycotting or pursuing a career in the army, accepting or declining social media propaganda embed terms of condition. The kawaioku creates imbalances of pain and pleasure in both image production and consumption. Its fleeting rephrase of visual grammar create pleasure and cuteness, acting some sort of softener of public opinion and moral concerns. On the matter of war crimes, give free access to pervasive militarization of public, accessible, and worldwide popular digital platforms. So, the current state of the art unfold a shift within the realm of human perception and global justice. On the horizon stands out the rise of a new alien planet whose physical laws alternate tensions between human rights violation and OnlyFans streamers, unboxing and sniping, war and haigo. I would like to show you a part of this archive. Not sure if you're able to see it now. Compartir la pantalla aquí. Compartimos? It's working? Sí. Nice. Okay. So this is basically the visual map who represent the archive. I don't know why it's moving on its own. Okay. So the project, as I started before, it's a digital archive. So I'm hoarding a lot of images. To be honest with you, I so far collected 27,000 files in 2 years now. And that's the map to visualize the most relevant areas of the archive. Do you remember that we flew over? I don't know why it's not working. Sorry, lo siento mucho. Ecco. So I created this kind of thermometer to try orient ourselves towards the wholesomeness, the cuteness, and trying to go deeper and deeper. As you can see, Belle Delphine and the anime obsession for porn and weapons, gun fetishism, and here again we'll find the consequences of digital militarism. So they are all archived and are organized under semantic areas. Are you all able to see it? Okay. That can... okay. The map actually is trying to give a sense of direction in such an often lacking compass within the internet jungle. So, perhaps now we can discuss just a minute to the Kawayoku so far, so where it led within this past month. So, the last developments in Ukraine war. Disclaimer, first of all, we won't find many cute clues in storytelling of war in Ukraine, or at least not like the Israeli army does. As the crisis in Ukraine escalated, millions have turned to TikTok for fresh and live information of what it was happening in real time. And that's how TikTok celebrities had increased popularity to make sense of the crisis for their audience. As the Washington Post columnist Taylor Lawrence reported a few days ago, the White House has been closely watching TikTok rise as a dominant news source, leading to approach a select group of the platform's most influential names. So in the past week, basically, the White House personally invited a group of TikTokers, influencers, to be sure that they were able to debunk misinformation and communicate effectively about the Ukraine's invasion. After the call, some of them stated, people in my generation get all the information on TikTok, so there's no harm in that. Some were harshly critiqued against Biden for his deed of putting pressure toward the Gen Z. And actually, I wanted to show you one of the most hilarious and at times dramatic episode occurred lately. Okay.
Protect each other from war. And Ukraine's like, okay. And then Russia's all like, no, these girls are toxic. They promised never to get in between me and my girl. Ukraine's like, whoa, chill out. I'm literally not your girl. Like, moveon.com. Russia's like, whoa, why are you getting so aggressive? And Ukraine's like, I'm literally not. So Russia's like, if you and your girls mess with me and my boys are going to mess with you.
Okay. For some, this video, it's been one of the most informative one and piece of journalism ever written on the subject, or even better than a history class, a top-notch kind of parody, a mere speculation on tragedy, and for others, it summarizes a zeitgeist. So, paraphrasing artist Pinar Yoldash, it's an ecosystem of excess. It's the Gen Z who's giving real-time history lectures, delivering personal values, and overexposing their own fragility while endorsed by political interest, translated by private social media idioms on the most downloaded app with the silliest name ever. So the ultimate question is, should we start reconsider what was once perceived as violent now might be welcomed as desirable? Thank you.